Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Football is back, baseball playoffs on the way, and hockey season around the corner. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of the many prop bets. It's made for Canadians.
Did you have the Steelers yesterday?
Woo. I honestly, I missed my picks yesterday. I'm embarrassed. I know, and I should have.
How could you?
Because I can't. I have this rule. I don't. Everybody has the rules. My rule is I don't bet against the teams I cheer for. I don't bet against them.
They won.
Exactly.
Terrible towel, more like terrible Adam.
Made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/STPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
We're all expecting, like, some things need to happen. Either Sandine signs, which is a story, or he doesn't, which is also a story. Or Kerfoot is traded, which is a story, or he's not traded, which is also a story. And Justin Hall and et cetera, et cetera.
It's interesting you bring that up because the Leafs have got Zach Aston-Reese on a PTO. He thought he had to deal with another team, and it fell through. So he had the opportunity to choose between Edmonton and Toronto. He chose Toronto, and I thought that was interesting because I thought Toronto might be a harder road given the glut of forwards they had. But Jonas Siegel wrote an article, and obviously talked a little bit about what Aston-Reese is, and obviously he's a physical forward, good defensive forward, not going to be a guy that you're relying on to score any goals, but a comp unit with him and
Engvall?
Not Engvall, Nicholas Obey-Kubel on like a fourth line or something like that could be a nice little shutdown line because the Leafs for years have struggled with what is the fourth line.
They should have a pretty versatile bottom six.
And you know, it also opens the door if the Leafs do make a trade, i.e. Kerfoot or something like that, where he can jump in. So there's probably a lot ready to go there. I did want to ask you about Zach Aston-Reese because obviously in this particular case, I don't think the Leafs are like, well, Zach Aston-Reese, he's on a PTO because we don't think he's an NHLer, or we're not sure. He's clearly an NHLer.
He is clearly an NHLer, and it's weird to me. It's weird to me that he's on a PTO at all. Like he couldn't find a job.
Maybe he could. He just he didn't want the ones that he was offered.
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah, people forget that. Like, oh, I can't find a job. No, he can't find a situation that he likes, and he appears to have one in Toronto, and he could be with Nicolas Obey-Kubel, and they can be the triples line. Triples is best. They could potentially be just a whole bunch of names line.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys who he's never put up points ever. Ever. He's a career high of like what, 16, something like that. But he has, I think, a couple hundred NHL games under his belt. He's the sort of player that like hockey broadcasts have fawned over our entire lives. This is a heart and soul, hard working, digging the corners and forecheck and blah blah blah. I don't understand how he wasn't able to find a job. I guess, but he really believes in what Edmonton and Toronto are doing. Well, the hole in the lineup is penalty killing. Mikheyev and Kasha are gone, and if Kerfoot goes, there's another part of the penalty kill. Right. Mikheyev, Kasha, I want to say was more secondary, but Mikheyev was that was a key part of the penalty kill.
Why do you have Clifford going?
Where do I have Clifford going?
Yeah,
the minors.
Okay.
He's not
maybe extra forward.
I think he and Wayne Simmons are not maybe everyday NHLers anymore, but you don't mind them being in the lineup. I don't mind them from time to time. Ideally, I just don't like Kyle Clifford throwing a hit that gets you suspended in game 1, but doesn't get you suspended in game 6. I just, if only he picked the right game to throw that hit in. You're right. Oh boy. If the Leafs are able to carry 3 spares, which right now they can't, I think Clifford, Simmons, extra D makes sense. There's, I guess the point I was getting at the beginning is there's still a decent amount of work to do here.
Yeah. Do you have Joey Anderson or Nick Robertson in that group?
Like if we need someone for Tavares' wing, I think I would much rather Nick Robertson.
That was very high in the lineup.
Robertson I could see though, couldn't you?
No.
It's very high in the lineup for Joey Anderson.
58 career games. Joey Anderson?
I would rather Kubel in that position.
Yeah. There's Dennis Mulligan, who the Leafs never announced, I'm pretty sure. So that's an interesting one. There's Adam Gaudette, who is destined to be a Leaf legend by getting waived and claimed and never playing a game for them. I think that's going to happen.
He's going to get Taylor Becht? Or not traded?
No, he got traded.
Gaudette's not going to play this year for the Leafs?
No, he's going to get signed because people love to claim off the Leafs.
Yeah,
they're the most claimed team.
People are dicks. Oh, let's do the meme. Let's do the meme. Hey, did you buy a house? Cool, we're going to fuck up your life. LOL, memes. Yeah, there's a lot of work left to do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of work left to do, and Aston-Reese, I think, has a handshake agreement in place.
For the Leafs?
Yes.
I think so too. So a lot of people we got an email actually from somebody who said, "Hey, why don't the Leafs just do this?" And we get a lot of why don't the Leafs just, but I thought it was worth pointing out because I think people, when Leaf fans are done with a player, they're done. It's like, how do we get him out at the door? But you have to understand that even overpaid players still have some value. And I'm not talking specifically about Kerfoot. I think his salary is about on par with what he should be making.
I don't think he's overpaid.
But at Justin Hall, people are like Kerfoot and Hall. They're done with Kerfoot and Hall. And the thing was, why don't we just dump them and bring back some bad contracts so we can use our LTIR? That was the comment. So why don't you just?
It's already been established that using LTIR sucks.
No one wants to do it.
It's super not fun. It involves way too much finagling, and people are forgetting that it also involves you having a player who can't play. You know, you can't just artificially. We joke about Vegas and how they artificially threw players on. Like Mark Stone had surgery. Was the surgery scheduled strategically? Yeah, there's accusations and whispers of that, and the Robin Leonard shenanigans and everything. But it's actually better to have actual cap space than have to finagle LTIR.
That's also just not how it works.
No.
It was a necessary evil for the Leafs when they were better than they ever expected to be.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh yeah, we're going to use LTIR, take on all these shitty contracts. And then all of a sudden they were good and they're like, okay, I guess we'll do this for several years.
Right. LTIR only works when you're at the limit of the cap, plus you have the maximum LTIR space used, and then you get to go over it just so you can feel the team, you know? And then, but some teams like Vegas have manipulated it to where you can just have better players and then also have your injuries.
They played shorthanded several times.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to do because you always have to be at the upper limit for it to kick in. So it's not a way to build a team. It's not a strategic tactic in building a team.
And not a long-term strategy. It's just, well, and the only reason that Vegas has the know-how is because of guys like Tom Parashka who can manage the cap, but it's not. It's not something that you want to do. Soundbar guy, just knocked the whole table.
Subwoofer. For them, it also wasn't a strategic tactic. It was circumstance for Vegas as well. They had the injuries. Nobody's trying to build their team through LTIR. That doesn't make sense.
No, there are instances where, like, if a guy gets hurt, okay, this buys us a little bit of time, but, you know, they also have to be injured for a certain amount of time. It's just, it's not it's a flimsy way to plan.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
And then Tampa says, hello, I have my Stanley Cup.
So it's maybe a little easier when you have guys who are like their career's done. Like, so Vegas has Shea Weber, his career's done. Mm-hmm. Tampa has Brent Seabrook, his career's done. But
because then the money's there, it's stable.
Yes.
Yeah. Or when you have a superstar who's out for a full year and then you bring him back for the playoffs.
Or that.
You know, what's that little thing?